Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Joseph Clough, and this is episode 776. Now, in today's episode, we are going to be talking about outworking your fears. That's what we're going to be doing even. If you don't know, this being broadcasted live on YouTube, so sometimes I make some mistakes in my language. But ultimately, outworking your fears, outworking your issues to the point where you get that emotional freedom in every single way. Because all transformation, and we're actually talking about this on the pre-show, about resistance. Whenever you want to make a change, you will experience resistance. So we'll get to that very, very soon. But at the very beginning, know that you've got to work harder than any one of the issues that you experience. If you experience anxiety, you've got to go all in on finding the solution. Well, how do I solve this? If you're doing nothing to solve an issue, then you're not going to make that change. And that is hard to take sometimes, right? I understand, because in a way that we'd like to be, we'd want it to just happen just like that. But I promise you, if you're going to make the change of a lifetime, if you want to be done of the old stories of the past, if you want to be done with the anxieties, fears, worries, and doubts, the fear of rejection, the fear of not being enough, the fear of failure, the fear of success, the fear of rejection, if you want to let go of any behavior that you experience, you've got to make a decision right here, right now, that you're going to do whatever it takes to assume responsibility to outwork any of the pain that you feel. That is pretty much how we make changes. Now, of course, there's different levels of getting over your issues, like outworking your issue by yourself. You will get there eventually if you persist. Like, if you keep on going down the gym, what's going to happen? Well, you're going to increase strength, right? That's what we're going to do. Whether it be muscles or tone or endurance, you're going to increase that level way up than doing nothing. You never expect to go to the gym once and then suddenly have the perfect body. It doesn't work that way. And in the same way, when it comes to the issues that we experience, we want to make sure that we're assuming responsibility, but this is a long-term process. Like, yes, you can let go of it with the right help within a couple of weeks, 6, 7, 8 weeks, even lifetime big issues. I see it, I do it all the time, and I'm happy with how we produce those results. But even if you do it by yourself, or if you work with someone, if you read a book, listen to a podcast, you've got to recognize that sometimes that resistance is going to pop up in the very, very beginning. It's going to be hard. Go to the gym for the first time, it's going to be hard. I remember when I first started to learn to run again. So I used to run all the time as a kid, because I used to play football, as in soccer in America, every single day. And it was easy for me. And then I didn't run for a long, long time. And then I began to learn to run, and I absolutely hated every moment of it. I really, really disliked running. After half a mile, I was exhausted, I was tired, I felt weak, and I felt faint, all of those things. But I persisted. I was like, I want to master running, because I know the benefits of what it's going to give me. So I kept on pushing through that resistance. And guess what happens? That resistance becomes less and less and less over time, because you're gaining the interest. Like, you think of like a money account. Well, I know interest rates aren't always that good these days, but if you think of compounding interest over a period of time, if you invest, even if it was just like, say, $100 every single month from the beginning of 18 years old, that compound interest is going to be worth millions and millions over time. Because the more you put effort in, it's going to go back on itself. So when you go take responsibility and go, look, this is my time to get back my life. This is my time where I get to, yes, go through the hard times. Yes, there's going to be a storm coming my way. Yes, there's going to be resistance. Yes, there's going to be people saying, look, I'm not able to achieve X, Y, Z. Yes, there's going to be people who say, who are you to make that change? All of this stuff will happen. So be at peace with it and still continue to outwork your fears. Otherwise, they are going to work against you. Like, your fears, worries, and doubts and issue, it is ingrained in you. Like, you've had it for a long time, even to the point where it's become your assumption of identity. And what do I mean by that? It's going to be the I am not statements. I'm not enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not deserving, I'm not able to make money, I'm not able to do X, Y, Z. The I am statements are identity statements which were only formulated based on our past experiences, the decisions that we've made, the traumas that we've gone through, the stories we retell ourselves or been passed down to us. So in the beginning, it's going to be very, very hard because that little devil on the shoulder is going to be going, who are you to do X, Y, Z? But if you keep on going, no, I'm outworking this. You're going to see me work harder than you can ever imagine. When other people are going out socializing, when other people are watching Netflix, going on Facebook, YouTube, all those kind of things, I'm going to be doing the quiet work. I'm going to be thinking about how I can solve this. I'm going to ask myself not why I'm like I am, because that will give you the reasons of those past stories, but instead I'm going to go, how can I make this change? How can I increase myself in my self-esteem 1% every single day? Once again, compound interest. It won't take you 100 days if you increased 1%. Because you'll be getting, let's say, 1% of 10% is more than just 1%. If that makes sense, hopefully it does. But look it up, compound interest. That is what we're doing. If we can just focus on being absolutely committed and decisive that I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to take charge of my life. I'm going to enjoy it. That's a tricky one, but it's so empowering to go, do you know what? This is all on me, and that's always a good thing because I'm in control of this. And I'm going to keep on maintaining my strength. I'm going to keep on working out at letting go of my issue. I'm going to keep on putting in the hours, the days, the moments, the weeks, the months. Like I said, especially if you're doing it by yourself, absolutely fine to do so. But absolutely keep on at it. And therefore, that endurance expands, the muscles expand when it comes to your psychology and your emotional resistance within yourself to keep on going. Not the resistance to stay the same, but the resistance of you going, look, I'm here to stay. I'm here to live and love my life. I'm here to be of purpose. I'm here. And the other thing you want to consider is look at all the reasons as to why you should change. Look at all the reasons if you stay the same. I can promise you there's going to be a tipping point where you're going to go, do you know what? There's so much good and greatness of having made that change, not just by solving my anxiety or my fear or my issue, but instead of all the things which that's going to get me. Like, I could not even fathom to imagine, let's take two scenarios, and you probably know both of them from my personal experience. I started running, couldn't do half a mile, felt weak, almost fainted, like I said, and then within 6 weeks, I ran around a whole island of Koh Samui in Thailand, and it was, I can't remember how many miles it is, but I think it was like 20 miles or so, right? I just kept on running all the way around the whole island, and it was hard still, but you know what? I did the work. I outwitted my own negativity. When my voice inside was saying, why don't you just give up? Why don't you get a taxi back? Why don't you just rest up? I was like, no, I've put in the work. I'm here for a reason. I'm here to do whatever it takes, because I knew the benefits of that. And then I began to fall in love with running. It was my therapy. It was where I come up with ideas for podcast episodes. The other example of me having my issue of not feeling good enough, worthy, deserving, and capable, which created the anxiety, the blushing, the fears, all those types of things. Well, having overcome that, having invested all that money and time in figuring out that solution, something else came along which was even better, which is doing what I do right now. I have the privilege and honor inside, or the gratitude I should say, is that I get to hopefully help people. Hopefully to be able to impart the knowledge that I've learned to overcome my issues, also the people that I work with within my main program, or the trainings that I teach, or the seminars, or fill in the blank, all that stuff that I've learned, I can start to impart hopefully aspects of that within the podcast or YouTube and so on. So there's a greater benefit for putting in the hard work, and sometimes you will not know what will happen having made that change. You don't know what's around the corner, which is going to be something even bigger and greater than any fear or resistance of staying the same. So you've got to really, really put that time and outwit, outwork. Even, like I said, when people are saying, let's go out and socialize, or when you have that little thought, well, I'm just going to go on YouTube, one more video, one more reel, or one more, whatever you call those quick TikTok kind of things, you're going to go, no, I'm not going to waste my time in things which will not support me when I'm in this much pain. Get out the pain, then I can get back to that stuff if I choose. Chances are you won't, because you won't need to sedate yourself with all those other social media things. You'll be like, wow, I'm absolutely free. But you're not going to get to a place of where you want to be when you are sedating yourself with external means. Whether it be food, whether it be social media, whether it be hanging out, you're going to do the quiet work. Decide and declare that you are going to do that quiet work. When everyone else is doing other things, you are making the change. You are researching, you are learning, you are investing, you are going to a place where you go, I'm ready to do whatever it takes to achieve my goals and dreams in a way that's going to serve me, but also maybe serve your family, to serve maybe a greater purpose. Like I said, I fell into this based on my own issues, and we've just hit 13 million downloads on the podcast total. So I know what it's like to do the work. I know what it's like to stay the same, and it's so much more painful. It's gonna be hard in the beginning once again. You will get resistance from people and even your own internal critic. But after a while, when you become so consistent, the results will be impossible to be ignored. I'll say it again. When you are so consistent and dedicated to your goal, your dream, your outcome, results will be impossible to be ignored, because you have everything you need to make that change. Even if you don't believe like you're worthy of it, because that can be a big thing, you don't believe that you're enough, because that's part of the issue, you can consciously still make a decision over fear and go, do you know what? I'm going to do whatever it takes to be able to get me to where I want to be, where I get to choose my life. You've heard me say this before. Rather being a product of life, allow life to be a product of what you choose to become. When you decide and declare that you are worth more, even if you don't believe it, when you decide to when you hear that internal critic going, hey, who are you to do this? You go, well, this is why it's important. I'm going to do, be, and become all that I have to become to get to where I want to be. I'm going to give up things which no longer serve me. Temporarily, like I said. I mean, let's put it this way. Say you've got a favorite hobby. Okay, imagine you've got a favorite hobby right now. Maybe, let's just say a random one like playing golf. If I said to you, you've got to give up playing golf for the next 6 months, the next 2 months, even a year, but it will mean you'll be the happiest you've ever been, where you'll love yourself. Let's just say if you don't believe you're worthy, good enough, and deserving in this context. I should have put that a bit clearer. Let's just say you don't feel worthy, you don't feel good enough, you fear rejection, you fear failure, you fear all these consequences. You hear the inner critic always beating you down. And I said to you, look, if you gave up the one thing that you love doing as a hobby just for 6 months, which will then mean that you are to live the life that you've always wanted, to live with knowing you're worthy, to live where you know that you're deserving, where you are capable, where you are good enough, where you feel not that you just like yourself, that you love yourself. And that's important to me, because someone said that to me just not so long ago in my program, where they came to that realization. They don't just like, but they love themselves. But they actually going to do and make an impact in the world. If that were to be true, but if you could just give up that one thing, whether it be social media, would you say yes? Think about it. Would you give up social media or your favorite hobby for say 6 months, 3 months, if it would mean you were able to achieve the life that you'd really like? Whether it be financial abundance, saving your marriage, being the parent that you want to be an example to your child, whether it be starting a business, whether it be, like I said, that just internal knowingness that you are loved and you are worthy. Would you decide to give up that thing that you enjoy doing? Now, if you said no, then to me, there's not enough desire within the goal and outcome. But if you said yes, you were to do that, then you gotta do it almost. Not that you gotta give up golf, but you've gotta think about yourself. Am I putting in the effort and the time, the research, the learning, the mentorship? Am I finding people who can help solve my issue? Am I doing the work? Am I kind of saving up money to be able to get myself out of this pain? Am I willing to not go out, do all the social media stuff to go, look, here I'm going to be free. I'm going to be absolutely worthy and deserving. So when that little voice comes in and goes, you are not worthy to change. Who are you to make this change? You've tried and failed before. What's going to happen again? You're going to fail again. Well, in those moments when that voice comes in, you go, I'm ready to not pay attention to you. I know that that little voice of mine is just an echo of my past. It was given to me maybe through a past experience, maybe it was passed down to me because my parents always said that I wasn't good enough or worthy, but I know it's not truth. I know it's a story. I might feel real, I might feel like that is my identity, but that is not who you are. It's not who you are. It's an aspect that you've played out over time that feels real, but it's still subjective and it's still learned. And if you've learned it, therefore you can unlearn it. You can give up habits, behaviors, and more behaviors. And just like beliefs, they're pretty much strategies, habits that you've acquired over time. So when that voice kicks in, you go, nope, not today. I'm going to do the work today. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show my past. I'm going to show myself how powerful I am today. I'm going to be the example of the change. And bring on that storm. Bring on that voice. Even if my family, my friend says, who am I to do this? Bring it on. I'm here to be able to make a difference. This is my life. Guess what? Eventually, those critics of yours are not going to mean anything. One day, it's a bit morbid, but one day they're going to pass on and it's not going to mean anything to you. It's only going to mean something to you if you assume it to be true. You've got to realize that all your critics, all those social expectations, they're not real. It's someone else's opinion of you. That's it, and we've assumed it to be us, our own opinion. We're retelling these stories over history, maybe generations old. And I say that because maybe the person who said that you weren't enough was also told they weren't enough, and the person who told them they weren't enough was the person beyond that person generationally. And before you know it, it is just mad. So wake up to the nature of truth and reality. That is that life is subjective and it's what you do with it. It's that meaning that you apply to it. Now you can apply meaning to the stress and the issue and live within it and be more dedicated to staying the same. Or you can decide today that you're going to dedicate yourself to your happiness, your love, your joy, your peace, your purpose, mission, ambition, vision, you name it. When you decide for yourself, regardless of what people say, you will live the most happy life you can imagine. Even if you have to put those people at a distance, sometimes see them as it's just their issues, it doesn't have to be yours. Sometimes you got to cut them off because this is your life. We only have like one life, unless we leave it in different spiritual ideas of reincarnation. But let's just keep it to the one life for now, regardless. We have this period of time, and we've got to use that time for meaningful transformation. If you're not happy and you're spending time elsewhere, you're more dedicated to staying the same. That's just the truth in my world. That's my subjective reality. But if I'm going to make a change, I'm going to outwork, outwit, be so dedicated that those results, those dreams and desires are impossible to be ignored. It will happen in every single way. So use this as a bit of motivation. After all, there's so many people who've got what you want. Whether it be the external, the material, to the internal of knowing that they're worthy, deserving enough. So therefore, if there's an example out there, it can be done. And therefore, it can be done for you in every single way when you put the time in it, when you start to do whatever it says, whatever it takes to be the change that you want to be in this world. That's what you gotta do, right? Famous quote, be the change you wanna see in the world, be the change you wanna see in other people. All of those things, it's within you when you decide to do. And be okay with resistance. Be at peace with the storm. It's only gonna make you stronger. It's only gonna allow you to grow more. It's going to make you see something within yourself that you never saw before. And that's going to be that warrior part of you. That resistance is going to bring out a greater truth. That resistance is going to bring out of you that absolute unwavering dedication. And guess what happens when that happens? Well, you can start to apply that to every other thing in your life. When you change the one thing, you will change the everything. So do the hard work, do the quiet work, put the time in, get the help that you need. I mean, of course, if you ever need help with me personally helping you that transformation, what you can do is go to josephclough.info/talk, and ultimately you go ahead and book a time to speak with us on a one-to-one Zoom call. We'll get clear on exactly where you are in terms of what pain that you're going through, and then we'll get clear on exactly where you want to be, and then we'll get clear on what the real issue is and come up with a customized solution for you. Now, we don't work with everyone. We choose to work with people we know we can solve, but if you've got to be committed, decisive, resourceful, and dedicated to do whatever it takes, go to josephclough.info/talk, right? That's what you got to do. If you're willing and you're invested. It's not a free program, right? Like, you get tons of custom stuff. You get to work with us. And that's what we do day in, day out, other than when I'm doing live streams, of course. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Whatever happens, whether you work with me, you work with other people, whatever. If you just do this journey by yourself, it's okay. Just decide to do the work. Outwork your fears and be the example of what can be done. So with that, my friends, I look forward to speaking to you on a future episode. Many thanks and goodbye.